Hello out there. Before I get into the Keith Laseter issue here and explaining what the evidence is here, I'd like to make a couple comments if I could, please. Um, First of all, a lot of people out there don't know everything that we do. We've said it on the radio show that there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes. A lot of you out there know that do investigations regarding corrupt government investigations having to do right now with the veteran police department. And we also do a lot of investigations having to do with stolen valor issues, corrupt companies, etc. Although we don't talk about it very much, but things are to the point now to where I need to just get it out there. These type of investigations are very costly, take time, and quite frankly, I need some help here. Anyone out there that would like to help the cause and what we're doing, you can go to thebuchananreport.com and buy a hoodie, buy a shirt, or just donate, or whatever you would like to do, but your help is needed. Before I go any further, another issue I want to address is this, is I take full responsibility for this investigation. I've directed it from the beginning. And should anybody have any problems with it and they want to go to lawsuit, I've already spoken with my attorney. His name is Donald McBee, MCBEE, out of Grand Junction, Colorado. If you're suing me, just go ahead and serve him for me. He'll accept service for me. So just want to get that out there. All right, let's move on. A good place to start, I guess, would be the government documents. If you take a look at the government documents, you go to the second page there, you will see his name, Terrence Keith Laseter, branch of service. He was in the Army National Guard, regular Army. You'll see his dates of service. What is important about those dates of service is basically served 3 years in the Army National Guard with just a few months of that time basically in training. Outside of that, he had about 3.5 years with the Army in which he enlisted. You'll notice that he was discharged. What's disturbing to us, they didn't put there whether it was honorable, general, dishonorable, etc., but we don't need to worry about that because he admitted to being dishonorably discharged in item number 2. If you go to number 2, you will see that is a audio of Keith Laseter in which he is admitting not only the dishonorable discharge but also stating that he went to OCS school, etc. I'll address that here in just a minute. But if you click on number 2, listen to it. It's about 12 minutes long. You will hear where he outright admits that he was dishonorably discharged. Now, to that point, per 38.US 101 under definitions, unless you are outright honorably discharged, you don't have the right to call yourself a veteran. So I want to get that out there right now before I forget about it. But go to number 2 and listen. You'll hear his words. It's him speaking in church, giving a testimony. There's about 12 minutes there that you'll be listening to. There's another segment that's about 20 minutes long. We didn't put it up there, but we do have it. And we also have a link to it in its totality as well to the website that we copied this from. We had to record a recording because there was no way to download his testimony here, which you're about to hear. So now, before I get to number 3, I want to go back to the government documents. Again, if you take a look at those government documents, you know, he is claiming in many of these other documents that I have posted, you know, item number 3 having to do with General Schwarzkopf and other articles that have been written about him. You'll see when you look at the government document that under his decorations and awards, through these documents, he stated numerous times that he, you know, was in Iraq. He actually deployed to Germany, but never did go with his unit over to Iraq. So he never was in Iraq. If he was in Iraq, he would have the appropriate accommodations there. Also, he claimed to go to OCS, Officer Candidate School, and if he did, that would be listed there too. But as you can see, it's not. Regarding item number 3, the General Schwarzkopf issue, yeah, we'll be talking about that quite a bit on the radio show on January 26th, or excuse me, December 26th, here this coming Tuesday. Really, the number one thing that just sticks out is that he claims to be with General Schwarzkopf for 13 years, and even if you add in, when you total it all up, he was only active duty enlisted for 3.5 years, and the other 3 years Army National Guard. That's, you know, only 6.5 years. So obviously that, you know, that's can't even possibly be true. But go ahead and read that. We'll be speaking to that, as I said, on the show coming up. Item number 4, real interesting here, states he was a captain in the Army. When in fact, if you go back to government documents, you'll see where he actually, when he got out of the service, discharged, if you will, he was discharged as a private first class. I don't need to say anything about that. This marketing he put out there having to do with his own radio show, basically stating, if you click on it, you'll see where he says he's Captain, you know, Keith Laseter, and another sergeant that was on there. I know nothing about that sergeant, so I have no comment to make. Go over to item number 5, where that's an article that he wrote. It's actually on his blog, to where he talks about the death of a soldier, to where it's written in the light of, with the inference there that he was there in Iraq in that fight. So you go ahead, take a look at that and draw your own conclusions there. I don't really like getting involved in speculation, but when you add this up to all the articles, you know, that have been written about him in the paper and his own statements that he has made, you know, it's very clear as to the message he's trying to get across. But you go ahead and read that, draw your own conclusion. Item 6, very, very clear. This is where he obviously had a discussion with an individual on the phone, and this party was a part of Facebook, and actually shortly after that conversation made comments about the conversation with Keith Laseter, in which I'll just start off. It says, Army Captain Keith Laseter, wounded Gulf War veteran. Now he's claiming to be wounded over there in Iraq. Again, go back to the government document. If he was wounded, where's the Purple Heart? Where's the combat badge, etc. His claims are woefully lacking, to say the least. At this time, I'm not speaking to any issues having to do with bridging the gap of Georgia. There is another officer of that organization besides Keith Laseter. Those investigations are still ongoing. We will be covering a lot of other issues on the radio show December 26th. And again, anybody out there, these investigations take time, take money. We can sure use all the help you can give us out there. Please go out, buy a hoodie, buy a shirt, donate. Your money's going to a good cause here. These issues need to be uncovered and proper people dealt with accordingly. My meaning to that comment is the proper authorities will be notified. I intend on pressing the issue. With me, I've said it numerous times. I really have a lot of heartburn on organizations out there like Fox, etc., Fox News, MSNBC. They got enough money to uncover stories, but there are certain issues out there that there needs to be follow through. And these type of issues, there needs to be follow through. In my opinion, Keith Laseter is guilty of stolen valor. He needs to be dealt with accordingly, properly, by the proper authorities, and I will be pursuing that avenue. Thanks for listening.